Hello crochet friends, welcome back. I'm so proud of you that you're here because it means that you are going to learn how to crochet. So if you haven't already, I have a short video on how to make a slip knot and how to chain. So today we're going to be starting to chain or single crochet off of a chain. So for this tutorial, I have a stitch marker. You can actually use a piece of thread. You don't have to use a stitch marker. I have an embroidery needle, a pair of scissors, a 4mm crochet hook, and I also have my yarn. I'm using Big Twist Posh, and the reason why I chose this yarn is because it's really easy to see the stitches. If you're not super familiar with yarn, on the back of the yarn, it talks about what size crochet hook you should use. So for a project, this is recommending an 8mm hook. If you used an 8mm hook, you would get lots of holes in your work. That would be fine if you're doing a blanket where you don't mind there being lots of holes in your work. But for the purposes of what we're going to do today, we're going to do one crochet hook smaller than the size yarn. So because this is a 5 bulky yarn, I'm going to use a 4 crochet hook. That's the advice I got from another crochet person, and it's worked for me since then. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab the end of my yarn. Okay, and then the first thing I'm going to do is make a slip knot. So we'll go ahead and make a slip knot. We make our loop. Put your forefinger and your thumb in here. You circle around and create your double-stranded loop. This is where your hook goes. We're going to tighten it, but not too tight, and then you're going to go ahead and let the shorter strand dangle down. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make a 10 stitch chain, okay? So the first one can be a little tricky because, oops, I'm going to have to do that again. Okay. The first one can be a little tricky, especially if it's a little bit on the tighter side. I'm going to go ahead and tighten that up. So what I like to do is lay my yarn across my 3 fingers and then go under, and that is how I like to hold my yarn. So this part of your work, you're going to be holding with this finger and this finger. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and chain 10. You yarn under, pull through. You're only pulling through one loop. Yarn over, pull through. That's 3. Yarn under, pull through, that's 4. Yarn under, pull through, that's 5. Yarn under, pull through, that's 6. Yarn under, pull through, that's 7. Yarn under, pull through, that's 8. Yarn under, pull through, oops, that's 9. Yarn under, pull through, and that's 10. So let's go back and count our stitches just to make sure that we know how many stitches that we did. So if you look at your stitch, you can see a little V. There's a V right there. There's also V's along the side. I like to also look for the hole in the middle of the V. So I'll put my finger in the middle. I'm not going to count this one that the needle is actually in. I'm going to count this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, as I start, I'm going to go ahead and wind my yarn around again. We're going to learn how to single crochet. So this is also called a foundation chain. It's where all of your stitches are going to come off of. So our crochet hook is going to actually go in to that first hole. So here's my crochet hook. It's going to go in that first hole. I'm going to yarn over, pull through that hole that we went through. Now you have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops on your hook. And when you're done, you should still have 1 loop on your hook. And that is 1 single crochet. Let's do that again. You're going to go through that second hole, yarn under, Okay, we just pulled up a loop, yarn over, and through 2 loops. Now we have done 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Now we're going to go in the 3rd hole, yarn over, go through 1 loop, yarn over, go through 2 loops. Now we have 1, 2, 3 stitches. Okay, we're going to continue this. If you feel like you need to go a little slower, feel free to pause. We're going to go into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, go in the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, let's go into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, and I can feel where that next stitch is. Don't accidentally go into this one again. You can see our yarn is coming out of that. That's where my needle is right now. If you were to go in there and do a second stitch, that's called an increase. That's doing 2 stitches in 1 hole. We only want 1 stitch in each hole. Oops. It's hard to show somebody. Okay, yarn over, go through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and now we can see that this is where our yarn is coming out of, so we're not going to do this one. We're going to do this one. That was probably one of the things I really struggled with when I first started, is where does my needle go? Okay, so we just did 10 single crochets. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can count them. You can also turn it this direction and you can count the V's. So let me see if I can show this to you guys. So I'm going to try to count them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oops, and 10. Now what I like to do at this point is to use a stitch marker. So let's say I'm going to make a square or a rectangle that is 10 stitches long. I want to make sure that I remember where my crochet hook was. Okay, so I'm going this direction. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. So let's do that again. We were here at the end of the row. I chained 1 and flip. Now I'm looking at the back side. I can see that my first loop is right here. That's where I want to put my crochet hook. Okay, at this point, you can use 2 stitch markers, one at the beginning and one at the end. So let's say, for example, I wanted to put a stitch marker in that stitch that first let me go ahead and let me make my first stitch. So I'm going to go in this hole, yarn over, and then yarn over and pull through 2. That was my first stitch. So I'm going to put my stitch marker in that space so that when I come back down the row, I can see exactly where my last stitch is going to be. It's so easy to add an extra stitch on the end on accident, and then pretty soon you have a misshapen piece of work. So now we're going to continue going down the line. This is now our second row of single crochets. So we go in, yarn over, go through 2. We go in this hole right here, oops, yarn over, and go through 2. Okay, here's our next one right here. Looking for those bumps. Yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, here's my bump right here. I can see it. Make sure that when you go in that hole that you have 2 loops on top of the hook and not 1 loop. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Go under those 2 loops, yarn over, yarn over. Okay, make sure you have those 2 loops, yarn over, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, we're getting close to the end, and we're going to pause and count our stitches. And I can see this is my last stitch. Let me go ahead and count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now I know I need 1 more, and that gives me 10. Now at this point, you're gonna go ahead and chain, and then you're going to turn. At this point, I can put another stitch marker on this end to make sure that I'm not adding too many stitches. Okay, so we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go into this first hole, yarn over, pull through 2, and this is where I can put my next stitch marker to make sure that I'm not adding extra stitches. So this is what your work should look like. These are single crochet stitches, and in another video I will be showing you how to do a double crochet and some other stitches that you might find handy. If you would like to go back and watch my videos on how to make a slip knot and how to chain, please go ahead and do that. And I'm so excited about future videos that I'm going to be putting out for you guys so that you can also learn how to crochet. Happy crocheting!